Hey there, Mike, Terry, and Heather. This is my course visit into Mike's classroom. I'll start by saying that my score is almost exactly the same as Terry's, and that this doesn't mean at all that Mike, that you're a bad instructor or that you have a bad classroom. There are just places where there's room to grow. There's other things where the scoring is different now than it was last semester. So let's go ahead and look at this together. Here's the feedback that Terry offers in black, and then here's the feedback I offer in red. She gave you a 3 for profile and contact information. Let's look at it. She says all information is present except Mike needs to add office hours in the course calendar. So that's the only reason you got into that below category, as we've talked about. And I wrote, I agree with Terry's assessment here. The calendar is no longer a required tool, so your score would be a 6 here now, thanks to the personalized, polished profile you post and the course information posted there as well. You could add more about the course itself, as Patty and Terry have done. I like that the profile is posted in announcements as well. So if you want to, you can email Patty or email Terry and see what they write about the course, just because it's a nice thing for students to see as well. For the news page, Terry awarded you a 4. And she says, Mike updates his newsfeed with updates, support material, and spiritual thoughts. It needs to be edited. Some material appears twice. I wrote, I'm confused by some posts. In week 1, Mike says to view videos below, but they're posted above. Make sure all the instructions are clear. The font is also sometimes very small. Look for typos like AF grade instead of NF grade. The repeated notes are confusing. You know, there would be week 3 with the picture, and then it'd be week 3 again with the exact same picture. The repeated notes are confusing, so proofreading and polishing carefully before each week will make a big difference and raise your score to the exceeds area. Right now, I agree with Terry's score. So again, it doesn't mean you have bad notes. They're good notes, but there are things to do to strengthen them, before the start of each week. In the next area, discussions, you received a 2 here from Terry. Terry writes, inconsistent presence on the discussion boards appears to not have welcomed any students in the introduction discussion board. He felt leaving an audio welcome in the gradebook was sufficient. I did a little training, explained that it's important to right from the start build a sense of community and graciousness as the instructor in the discussion thread. Here's what I wrote. I said, looking at discussion board statistics in section 9, I see that Mike only replied 17 times during the semester. That is, typically you'll reply at least 25 to 30 times in the very first discussion board. So that absolutely is falling below standards. And also you didn't read everything that was posted. It said that you'd read 100 posts throughout the whole semester where, many other students had read 150. So maybe 130, maybe there weren't that many posts. But anyway, you weren't reading everything just based on I Learned 3 assessment. So maybe that's incorrect. And I actually have heard that I Learned 3 doesn't always catch when you read things. Sometimes you have to click read all or something like that. So maybe that's inaccurate, and I'll give you that. But I said this is definitely an area where improvements needed, as Terry outlined. I know that an injury made typing very painful for Mike, and I also know he has plans to participate weekly in the discussion boards this semester. He's already posted responses to everyone in the welcome boards this semester. So I know that, Mike, that you're on that path to doing really well in the discussion boards. Again, it doesn't mean this is a poor class. It's just this is an area where you need to do more. For grades, Terry gave you a 4 here and said, I assume that he's current. I cannot see all of his grade book. So her score was blind, right? So she didn't really know. Mike told me he stayed ahead of the 7-day deadline almost always last semester, which would put you in the exceeds category. But you were late a few times when you were injured. I think that's what you said. That would put you in meets overall at a 4, like Terry had said. But if you're staying ahead all the time, let Terry know that, and that puts you in exceeds. Assignment feedback. Terry says it appears that Mike could add more substantive feedback. I wrote, this isn't an easy place for me to assess an I Learned 3, but I see detailed feedback on some assignments, no feedback on others, and just a bit of feedback on others. Per Terry's feedback and my conversations with Mike, I'd invite more consistent feedback on student art, but I definitely see it throughout the course. It's there. It's just kind of spotty and inconsistent. So I'd award a 4 here based on what I see. But again, I understand that I'm blind. It's not my classroom. So email me or let me know if there are things I'm not seeing there, but I would award the same score there as Terry had, just based on what I see and based on the gaps I saw. And then we'll look at building faith in Christ. Terry awarded you a 4 there. He says you do place spiritual thoughts in the news feed. They could be more strategic. Do not see discussion boards consistently regarding the spiritual. And I said I concur with Terry's score. I'd love to see spiritual messages in every week of the class. And sending students to discuss them on discussion board would be even more would do even more to build faith. So I love the spiritual threads that are posted. I think that they could be posted weekly, and that will again raise your score. And if you connect them to discussion boards, how great is that? Develop relationships with and among students. Looking at this, Terry writes, seems to be struggling with consistent communication with students based on what I see. Oh, that should have been me in red. Based on what I see, I agree with Terry. Just looking at that rubric. I said I may give a 3 here just because I know Mike does answer emails regularly, seeks to serve with students who reach out for help. He offers the opportunity to revise assignments, which is a huge kindness. This score will go up as he reads discussion board posts and contributes to discussion boards each week, and as he offers feedback to every student every week, which he may already be doing. I just saw blank comment boxes on several student assignments, so I'm guessing that this is an area to strengthen. So again, I'm going in with a blind spot, but I do know that you're kind and compassionate. It's just the communications, that weak presence in the discussion boards pulls that score down. Inspiring a love for learning. Terry gave you a 3 and says, from what I can tell, feedback looks thin. And I said that I see the same thing. Some feedback is excellent, but sometimes there isn't any. More consistency and more feedback will help. I do like the enthusiasm for subject matter notes, although a lot of the notes come from Patty. So there's nothing wrong with using other people's notes, but also I'd love to see, your things for students even more. I really love the student samples. I think they're excellent that you post. Embrace university citizenship, and you got a 3 here. Terry said that you attend meetings but don't participate in the community discussion board. I said I can't assess this, or I guess I won't. I don't want to go look in the community, but I encourage Mike to participate in our synchronous threads in the teaching group and in the meetings this semester. And then I said the score stands based on an assumption that what Terry said is accurate. So, if you're just participating in all those things and getting your weekly reflections in and doing all of those things, then you're doing great. And finally, seeks development opportunities. Terry says that you seem to be functioning well enough in Ireland 3. And I wrote, again, I can't assess this. I know Mike loves the students and his subject matter, and I invite him to talk with Terry about the things he does to broaden his understanding of his discipline. The 4 stands here based on my lack of knowledge to the contrary. And again, this is just a blind spot for TGLs, and it's a blind spot for me. We don't always see the things you're doing. So let Terry know, and as you dialogue about it, that helps her know where you're exceeding and meeting expectations. I hope that this was instructive. The point differential between Terry's score and mine was 0.1. She awarded you a 3.2. I awarded you a 3.3. And again, that doesn't mean that your course isn't a great course or that you aren't a great teacher. It just means there's things to step up for this next semester, and I know that you can do it. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thanks.